Okay, today we're going to talk about graphing non-whole numbers on a number line. You guys are used to seeing a number line like this before. And when I say non-whole numbers, I mean numbers that are mixed numbers, parts of a number, decimals, things like that. So a number line is a portion of an infinite line that increases or decreases evenly. It doesn't always go by one, this one does. But you know that whatever the space is between these two lines is the same amount of space between these two lines. When moving negatively on a number line, you're going to move to the left. Whew, that should be an F, not an S. So if I have like a -1, I'm going to move here. If I have -1.5, I'm going to be in between the 1 and the 2 because 1.5 falls between 1 and 2. Not all points will be directly on a line. That's where you guys are going to get a little confused, but if you kind of think through it, you're going to be able to figure this out, no problemo. You may need to convert or change the number to figure out where they should be in relation to the whole numbers, two whole numbers that they fall between. And after you plot, you should always label that point. So we're gonna kind of look down here. There's 8 numbers you guys are gonna work on today. I'm gonna do 2 of them with you. And I'm gonna show you what I mean by this. Like I said, I don't think it's terribly difficult. I think you're gonna grasp it once you kind of get your mind wrapped around it. So the first number we have here is 225%, which we should know right off the bat is like, oh, 225 is nowhere near this number line, but that percent, meaning per 100, tells me, oh, I could write that as a fraction. I'm going to get a better idea. This is what I was talking about when I meant you might have to convert that number. So let's convert that into a decimal because that's pretty easy to work with. So if I have 225 divided by 100, I should end up with 2.25, which is the same thing as 2 1/4. Oh, sorry. So 2.25, I don't have a negative sign anywhere, so I'm going to be somewhere on this positive end. 2.25 is going to fall after 2, but before 3. So it's going to fall in these two between these two lines. I have to figure out where. I can't just plot it anywhere on this line because each part means something kind of different. For example, if I plotted it right here, pretty much exactly in the middle, that means 2.5. 2 1/4 is actually halfway between 2 and 2.5. So my plot should go right there. And I'm going to label that A. Now, are all of our points going to be in the exact same spot? No, but they should be fairly close. If you're putting something closer to the 3 that should be at 2 1/4, then you're not doing it correctly. It needs to be closer to that 2, but not necessarily right next to the 2 because it is quarter of the way through. This is a bigger number line, so that should help, meaning there's more space, not that it's like a large number line. The next one I have is 2 4/5. I'm actually going to skip that one, and I'm going to jump down to -4 1/8. I have my reasons for it. This is actually really close to what I just did. -4 1/8, I know I'm going to work this way. If I ignore this negative sign, I know that 4 1/8 is going to fall between 4 and 5. So while we may be tempted to say, okay, 4 1/8 is going to go on this side, we're going to move left because we're between the 4 and the 5. So I need to figure out what 1/8 is in relation to the rest of my number. I could do one of two things. I could try to find it with the benchmark fraction. I could try to turn it into a decimal. But I should know off the top of my head that 1/8 is not a very big number. If I had that as a piece of pizza, that's 8, but it's only 1 slice. So that means this is going to be pretty close to the number 4. So I'm actually going to leave it as a fraction. I'm going to put it probably like right to the side of that number 4, and I'm going to label it E. All right, you guys are in charge of doing B, C, D, F, G, H. If you would like to convert it to a decimal to make it easier for you to figure out, that is fine. If you can figure out as a fraction, that is fine as well. Please do this in pencil because you are going to have to fix this.